What's going on, folks? Welcome to 34 Questions. Today I have a very special guest, Mr. Adam Steven. Stevens? Steven.
Yeah, Steven. Came from a
Steven.
poor family. We couldn't afford the extra S.
I got you, man. From the Long Beach era of my life. Welcome
Lomaville, yep.
Lomaville. Yeah, man. Shout out to Loma, man. So many great memories, and I'm glad that you were a part of my life, man. So, yeah. How are you doing, man? I guess oh man, I'm getting ahead of myself. But
That's all good.
for everyone out there listening, the format of the show, if you're not familiar, is that we do a few intro questions. We have a little icebreaker. Then we get into the main meat of the interview, and then we ended up with a concluding question. Sound good to you, Adam?
Absolutely.
All right. My first question for you is, how have you been, man? You've been good. You've been going through it. I know you moved out there. How's life?
Yeah, I mean, lots of ups and downs with all the pandemic stuff and everything. Pretty much like anyone else. I'm actually back in California right now in Linktr.ee.
Oh, what's up?
Yeah, just my dad's getting ankle surgery in a couple weeks. He's had like arthritis and everything, so I came down here just to be able to help sort of run the show while he's recovering and everything. So came in last week and then doing all the prep stuff, getting to meet all the different people that I have to talk to throughout, and then in a couple weeks he gets the surgery, and then I'll be sort of his front man for a few weeks till he's back back walking around, and then I make my way back to Minnesota.
For sure. How long you been out there in Minnesota now?
About 2.5 years. September of 2018 was when I went up there.
For sure. You feel like that's the place for you? Feel like you're gonna settle down there?
Yeah, I mean, I bought a house, so it's a good start.
Yo, congrats on that, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, holy shit. I didn't know how grown you were, man.
I know, I feel all adultish and everything. It's weird.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Yeah, so how's Minnesota different from California? Let me ask you that.
I mean, obviously the weather's one thing.
I got you.
I flew out on St. Patrick's Day last week, and I left 36 degrees and landed in sunny Palm Springs and like 80 degrees. Gotcha.
Man, I wish it was getting hotter up here, man. I work graveyard, and so I work overnight, and like I work outside. It's like fucking 40 degrees at night, and so
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully it's coming. Hopefully it comes.
Oh yeah, just around the corner.
So my second question for you. Well, I'm glad to hear you're doing well, and I'm glad that yeah, you're growing up, man. I want to be like you when I grow up. My second question for you is, what would you like the audience and your descendants to know about you? Like, yeah.
Well, let's see. Descendants, I guess, is more of a bigger question, but the audience that I guess I'm more of like pretty laid back guy, like don't really get too high, too low, anything like that. Like I just try to stay as even keel as possible. So sometimes I don't show as much enthusiasm as I probably should, and vice versa. I probably don't get as upset as I probably should if something bad happens or something like that.
I hear you. And that second part about your descendants.
For that one, I don't know. It sounds kind of cheesy, but just sort of that I'm an honest guy, both in terms of obviously just speaking the truth, as well as just putting in like a good effort, like not trying to cheat anybody out of anything. Like if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, whether it ends up being a bigger situation than I thought or not. Like I tried my best to get it done because I told somebody that I would do it, and that's just sort of the way I've done it. And to me, it seems like that's the way it sort of should be done.
For sure, man. And that's rare in the world of flakes these days. And I'm speaking that from experience for myself. You know, I need to be better at that sometimes. I hope I am. I hope I'm getting better to all the folks out there.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, there's still times when I screw up stuff like that too. But like that's why I sort of push myself. Like that's why I want to try to people like you're saying. Like that's how I want people to think of me. Where I'm like, you know what, he tried his hardest to do whatever it is. Like if I say I'm gonna do something, might not be as professional looking or as good as they're hoping, but they can see that I put in like the honest effort and whatever it is that we decided to do.
For sure. And I'm a witness to that. That's definitely how I felt about you, man. Or that's how you came off to me, you know, all those years back in the day and even now.
Yeah. All those 6 a.m. bike rides to go do stairs and everything.
Yeah. All right, and it kind of that second question kind of builds onto this third one. But how would you like to be honored? You know, if I was gonna be like, I'm gonna honor Adam today, what could I do?
I guess just like just try to be whenever a situation comes up, like just try to look at both sides of whatever it is, like sort of see where the other person's coming from, because you could have your thoughts or beliefs on whatever it is, but just try to take a step back and think about where the other person is coming from. So like, don't be like confrontational about it. Be like, oh no, this is the way I've always done it. This is the way it has to be done. Where like sort of see where they come from, see if it makes sense and it works. Great, you learn something new. If it doesn't, then both you and the person sort of grow from it, where they realize that, hey, there are other ways to go about it and everything. So just sort of, I guess, more generally, just sort of have an open mind on things.
For sure, man. I'll definitely think of that. Like this one's for you when a situation comes up and I'm just like, yo, what did Adam say? Oh yeah, I got
I'll
you.
wait for that text. Like, dude, I got it. I did it.
You've been honored. But yeah, I got you, man. My fourth question for you is, how well do you know yourself? And if it's hard to put in words, you could do a scale from 1 to 10.
No, fair enough. Scale of 1 to 10. I feel like I know myself pretty well. I'd probably say like a 7 or an 8.
For sure.
So like I know myself pretty well, but at the same time, I also know myself that I might not do anything to change it. Like if I know something's gonna happen and I just don't want to do it, I'm still probably gonna end up doing it just because I know that my body sort of wants to. So for better or worse, yeah, I know what's gonna happen, but it's just up to me whether I actually have the willpower to stop it or not.
No, I feel you. One of my guests had mentioned like sometimes you can know yourself too well, and you know,
yeah,
that could also present its own challenges from not knowing yourself. But yeah, no man, you know me, and I feel like I've gotten to know myself a lot over the past 10 years, and especially in college. But
absolutely.
Yeah, it's that balance. We all gotta be balanced. But for sure. All right, we've gotten to the icebreaker portion. It is a spelling bee type of deal. I give you a word, and then from there you get 2 chances. And if you get it right, I'll invite you back on to like the special spelling bee episode of with the other guests that have like gotten it right.
Serious competition. All right.
Oh yeah. What's it called? Are you down? No pressure. But yeah.
No, yeah, let's do it. I wasn't told that there would be a quiz, but yeah, let's see how I can go rapid fire here.
Yeah. It's just one word, and the word is liaison.
All right, liaison. I've seen this word plenty of times, and I just know there's a bunch of random letters in it. Liaison. I'm gonna feel bad if I don't get this because like I can picture it in my head too. But I'd say liaison.
Dude, you're the second person to get it right on the first try, and aside from that, no one's ever gotten it right. So Congratulations.
Yeah, all right.
And this is a mark for me to find a new word. But yeah, man, cool. I'm glad that you got it. I'm glad that you are the fourth contestant. And yeah, after this, you'll shortly be getting an email from me, or some kind of communication about when and where the spelling bee will take place. But I hope you're excited, because the prize is gonna be some kind of Hella Hungry gear.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Sponsored by Hella Hungry.
National Spelling Bee sponsored by Hella Hungry.
Yeah. For sure, man. All right. Well, let's jump into the main meat.
Yeah, let's do it. Absolutely.
Give me a number between 1 and 34.
Yeah, let's just go with the Old Faithful. Let's go number 7.
Old Faithful. Ooh, okay, here you go. What is something in your life that you've taken control of?
To an extent, I'd say my future. Like, obviously, there's still a bunch out there that I have no control over, but like the whole buying a house type thing. I'll be honest, last year I was thinking about quitting my job. I'd been in so long, it just sort of got repetitive and sort of boring. So I was thinking about leaving, and then, excuse me, and then the pandemic and everything started. And so then I was able to save up a little bit of money and everything. So I had money to spend, but I was thinking about leaving. I wanted to use that money on something else, not something else, just to have it as like a safeguard type thing in case anything happens. But since I was living up in Minnesota, I was living 5 minutes away from where all the George Floyd stuff was going down. Like those were happening in downtown Minneapolis and different areas like Richfield and stuff, where I was living in Hopkins. Mm-hmm. And so for better or worse, I was thinking about the pandemic as well as the protests and everything. Like, people might not feel comfortable living in the area, and so I figured they might be thinking about moving away or selling their house. Like, pandemic, they probably might have lost their job, so they want to sell their house to get some money. With all the protests, they might not feel comfortable that like something might happen if they're in their house or something. Yeah. So I figured that. So like I said, I was thinking about leaving, but at the same time, I wanted to just sort of see where it was. And I spoke to my parents, like, hey, like, does this sound like a good idea? And they're like, yeah, go ahead and check it out. Just see if you're qualified for anything. And that's sort of how it started. And then now that eventually I got a house where I love it, it's awesome. And it just sort of helps with the future in the sense that it's almost like a savings account where you put the money down as a down payment, and then every mortgage payment you pay is basically like a savings, where if you sell the house at what you got for in the future, you're making all that money that you spent on it back. And so it's like almost like a savings account where when you sell it, you have the money there. And so it just sort of, I sort of like that. Yeah. I like that, where, like I said, just sort of helps me sort of plan for the future type thing, where like I have a home base, but at the same time, like if I wanted to do something else, I have a way out. Like I said, if I sell the house, I can get that money back. And so it's not like I just spent the money and just lost it all. So if something comes up where a job or something happens where I have to move somewhere super far away, then I have that opportunity still in front of me.
Dude, that was a dope way to look at it that I hadn't thought about it myself, honestly. Yeah, I am working on savings and trying to get enough money for a down payment on some kind of property. Super hard in California, but
oh yeah. No, I know when I applied based off all the information I had, I didn't think I was gonna get it. But I mean, I lucked out in the sense that like property in Minnesota obviously isn't as expensive as California, so I lucked out about that. Like, I don't know what it is like in San Francisco or anything, but my house I got is 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, and I got it for basically like $200,000.
Dude.
Yeah, exactly. So I lucked out real well, and then since the location and everything's awesome about it too, in the sense that like I'm a big sports guy. Like we used to always fantasy football. We go to hockey games, baseball games. Like we would just do whatever. And where I bought the house, I'm 10 minutes away from the XL Energy Center where the Minnesota Wild play hockey. I'm 12 minutes away from Target Field where the Minnesota Twins play baseball. And I'm 14 minutes away from US Bank Stadium where the Vikings play football.
That is prime position for a sports
Absolutely.
fan. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what's up, man. I'm happy for you, man. That sounds like a great deal. And shoot, that's cool. As far as like taking, like you said, you're taking control of the future a little bit. Obviously, there's stuff that we can't control, but you're taking those steps. That's cool, man. So you have this house by yourself? Like,
yeah.
Damn, you're not gonna like rent it out just to get some money back, or
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I have, like I said, it's a 3-bedroom place. So I've been debating on not necessarily renting out the entire place, but possibly renting out like a room or two since I have the spare ones.
Yeah.
But I bought it as a fixture-upper since I like to be like that sort of like handyman type thing.
Yeah, sick.
So my dad's been helping. Like I bought it back in September. My dad flew up in October, and him and I just like went to it for like 10 days, just hardcore, just doing like working from 12 to 12 every day, just building it up as best as we could. So like we fixed up the upstairs, like the sort of the master bedroom. So that one's all like up like sort of modernized.
Sick.
And then we started working on the main floor. Like it's all hardwood, so we put down like carpet and everything, just sort of temperature wise for being in Minnesota. The carpet just sort of saves on the gas bill for the heater during the winter.
For sure.
So we got the carpet for the living room, but I haven't touched the 2, I guess, spare bedrooms. And so it's gonna be once I work on those and actually fix those up, where I put carpet in there and fix up the walls and everything, that's when I'll start selling. They're not selling, to start renting, because I know it, as much as I enjoy it, people might not want to spend money on on something like that until it's all up and running.
I got you. So you're still in that process of making it into something where you can have people pay for to stay with you.
Basically, yeah. Like I mean, like if anyone in Minnesota is looking for a place to stay, hit me up. Yeah, like I said, I would be comfortable living there, but I feel like I'm sort of more simplistic or bare necessity type compared to other people, where I just need sort of 4 walls and a roof. But there are some people where if they're spending the money, they want to make sure they're sort of getting their money's worth. So I want to make sure that doesn't become a concern if I do decide to rent it out. So just trying to make it look as good as possible now. So in the future, it's just sort of, for lack of better words, it's just less of a hassle.
For sure. And it sounds like, when you work on it on your own and with your pops, like you're able to kind of like customize things to your liking. Mm-hmm. And what is something out there that you kind of want to add to it that's like, okay, this is going to be a little bit of a big project, but it's going to be worth it?
It's a good question, because honestly, I came to California for Christmas, and while I was here, I got a phone call from the water company up in Minnesota. Oh. So yeah, exactly. I had the house for 3 months, and I got a phone call saying a pipe burst. I'm like, are you serious?
Dude, yeah.
So I lucked out where I had a few buddies that I gave them like spare keys and stuff. So I just called one of them up and I was like, hey dude, like after work, you can go check on the house and stuff. And so yeah, the pipe that burst was in the bathroom. And that kind of sucks, just because the bathroom was the one thing that the house had, the people that used to live there had already like renovated.
Oh,
so I'm like,
my God.
When I got it, exactly. So when I got it, I was like, oh sweet, like that's one room that I don't have to like work on, sort of save a little bit of money that way. And sure enough, I get the pipe burst, and I had I looked out where like I called up the insurance company and I was covered for that. So I looked out about that and everything. And so then they had a water mitigation company come in just to make sure there's no moisture and stuff. And sure enough, there was moisture. So they had to like tear a boatload of stuff out so that everything could dry properly. So the good news, bad news type thing about that. Bad news, obviously that adds another room that I have to fix up. But like you were saying, now that I have it like that, I can soup it up in any way, shape, or form that I want. So like I already before I flew back up, or I flew back down here, I put in new flooring and everything, and I reset the toilet and stuff. So like that has like nice like not hardwood like vinyl stuff. I think it looks really good. Still
Yeah.
it's still a long way to go, but I think it looks good. So that's what I do like about it. It sucks that I have to put money towards that when I wasn't expecting to, but I do like that I can fix it up. Besides that, there's no real fancy plans where it's just like, oh, like I'm gonna soup this up hardcore. But the house has a lot of storage. Like it's an old house, so there's just like a lot of random cabinets and just like nooks and crannies everywhere.
Yeah.
So like to go upstairs to the main loft, there's a random like cabinet door that you open up, and it's this little tiny room. Like it's too small for like people to walk in it, but like if you have like kids or something, like 5 to 7-year-old kids or whatever, you could put in like a light and stuff in there, and that could just be like a little tiny like playroom type thing for them. And so it's just one of those things where like I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but because it's just there, like there's a lot of opportunity to come up with something, and I want to try to be creative and unique with whatever it is that I do end up doing with it.
For sure. Yeah, man, possibilities are endless for you, especially when you a home owner. But
Hey dude, I have 3 rooms. You ever want to come up? Come on down. I have a spare bed for you.
dude, I would love to make it out there. You know, I have this whole idea of traveling the world and all that good stuff. But yeah, if I'm ever around, I do want to do the whole tour of like go to every NFL stadium. I know you and your family kind of did something like that, and I was like, that's a great idea. Just to have something to do in these different cities, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, we'll talk about that off camera for sure.
Exactly.
What's it called? All right, man. Throw me another number.
Let's go with 13.
13.
Lucky number 13.
Lucky number 13. So this one is, I guess that first one was like, what have you taken control of? And this 13 is, what are you too stubborn to let go?
Oh, fair enough. Kind of weird how those two go back to back.
I know, right?
Too stubborn to let go. I'm not really too much of a materialistic person, but there are I do have a lot of small knickknacks that I've had for a long time. And I think that would probably be it, where there's really no point to have it anymore, but it's just like some random little story that I have with somebody, so I keep it. Where
I got you.
Even if I showed it to the person that I have the memory with, like I don't even know if they would remember it. But like since I do remember it, I like to have it there almost as a memory type thing. And so, but yeah, that's probably like I have like not t-shirts, I have like sweaters and stuff I've had for a long time that they're just torn to shreds, and like I don't even wear them anymore because they don't keep you warm because they're all torn up. But just I remember like when I went to Scotland, that was the jacket I wore when I was over there, and just like stuff like that where it's just like I have these memories, and that even until I have absolutely no space for it, I want to hold on to it as long as I can.
I got you. Would you say that's your collection? Because I feel like everybody collects something. So are you just collecting knickknacks that have memories associated with them?
I'd probably say so. Like, not planning it off like from the start, where I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna hold on to this because this happened. But it's just something that like over time you look back on it, and it causes you to remember it rather than you sort of forcing the memories. Like there's an actual like story behind it type thing. So I do enjoy that. Outside of that, yeah, I don't really collect too much stuff. So yeah, that would probably be the closest thing I have to a collection.
No, for sure, man. And I think that's even cooler that it provides you with memories other than just, you know, like I know I collect some stuff. I actually collected something from you. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember?
If you tell me, I'll probably remember, but I'm trying to think.
He just recently retired.
I want to say it has something to do with Drew Brees.
Yes, it was the Drew Brees autobiography that you lended me to.
That's right. I was actually thinking about that when he retired. I was looking. I thought I still had that book. I'm like, where did it go?
It's with me, man. I still got it. You know, I haven't let it go.
All right. Well, as long as it's in safe hands, we're good to go.
Yeah, man. I'll give it back to you when I'm finished for sure.
Sure. But I was actually, I was thinking about that when you retired, because I just remember some of the old stories, like back when he was a Charger and everything, where I was just reading it. And yeah, so when he retired, I was thinking about all the different stories I read there. I'm just like, man, whatever happened to that thing?
Yeah.
So I'm glad it's safe somewhere. That's good.
You know where it is now, so yeah. For sure, man. Yo, real quick, did you see that trailer for the Mighty Ducks return?
Sort of. I've seen it, and I've seen a lot of people talk about it. Because all those movies are based in Minnesota, so everyone in Minnesota, yeah. So all those people there just love ranting and raving about it. Like they'll see like at our store, people at our store we would play movies if like there's no sports on TV. Yeah. And we'd play like Mighty Ducks 1, 2, 3, or whatever. And the guys that were born and raised in Minnesota that I work with, they'll point to all the rinks in there and be like, "Oh yeah, that's actually up in that's in downtown Minneapolis. That one's in Sauk Rapids. That one's in Bemidji," stuff like that. Where they know exactly where all the rinks were and where there's filmed. There's like 2 or 3 guys that are like, "Oh yeah, I was extra number 372. If you look in the right corner of the stands, that's me as like a 6-year-old. I was in that movie," stuff like that.
Oh shit, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I think they shot a little bit in the Mall of America too. For some reason that just stuck out of my head. I think it was the Mall of America.
Sort of. That's actually like a miss. According to the people that I work with, that was a bit of a representation or whatever.
Gotcha.
Where they said it was the Mall of America in the movie, since people would know what that is.
Yeah.
But it was actually a different mall. Okay. But that was the whole thing. Like you're like, "Oh yeah, that was St. Paul Mall." No one like thinking it. Like, "Oh, it's Mall of America." Like, "Oh, I've heard of that place."
Yeah. That's hilarious. That's yeah. Now I know I'm gonna wear, if I come out there, I'm gonna wear a Mighty Ducks jersey or maybe a Minnesota Lakes jersey. Right? Is that was the team?
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. The Minnesota Wave.
Wave. Excuse me. My bad.
No, you're good. The only reason I know is because for a little while we sold that T-shirt as like a knockoff type thing at our store.
I feel you. I hope that's sold, because that's pretty cool to me.
Bombay number 99 on the back and everything.
Sick. Bombay. That's a great name, man. All right, man. Throw me another number.
Let's go number 3.
3. All right.
I feel like I come up with a better way of remembering these numbers. I'm going back and forth. I'm gonna restock some of these numbers.
I'll let you know. So don't worry about it. This one, number 3, is when was the last time you stepped outside your comfort zone?
Off the top of my head, probably around a year ago now, like before all the COVID stuff started to ramp up a lot. Nothing too profound or anything, but just I've always had a fear of sort of, for lack of better words, making an ass of myself.
Okay.
And so my brother, like before I moved to Minnesota, my brother and his friends used to do like karaoke and stuff a lot, where I just never had the courage to go up and do something like that.
For sure.
Where basically about a year ago, or I guess it's actually 2 years ago now, just before I moved up to Minnesota, that's when I was like, you know what, like when I get out there, I can be whoever I want, like, because I'm not tied down where people are like, "Oh yeah, I remember him," and like how he acts or something. Like I could be a great guy, I could be a terrible person if I wanted to, and they would just assume that I've always been that way. And so I just started to try to sort of try new stuff and sort of, like you said, like get out of my comfort zone. So I started being more outgoing and like being more willing to do stuff like that. So like my brother and his friend would go out to karaoke and I'd tag along and I'd sing a couple songs. I'd feel worried going into it, and depending on what the song was and how well it went, I'd feel embarrassed or proud after. And even to this day, like I still feel uncomfortable when I do it, but I am more willing to do it at this point.
For sure. That's cool, man. That's what's up. Like I wish we had karaoke more back in our college days.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Just always had you with the with the DJ set after all of our parties.
Yeah.
Just hanging out with the boombox, like, oh, let's play something random. You get like freaking like Spice Girls and stuff going on.
You know, like, I don't know why we didn't do that more often. Like, you know, just put up a YouTube video and with the lyrics and have everybody sing. I don't know, missed opportunities or whatever.
Yeah,
but
it's easy to think about it now, you know.
I just feel like now that I'm older, like that's something that a lot of parties want to do. Is like, oh yes, throw up a lyric video and sing along. And I'm like, damn man, what a waste. We never got a chance to do that.
You're too busy building the North American Football Association.
Yes. The North American Football Association, man. That was such a crazy like conversation that we had for like an hour about.
Dude, I feel like it was longer than that. It was like a full night where it was just us three, just you, me, and Jack, just drinking, tossing the ball around. We had the big, massive whiteboard. We started writing random stuff down, trying to get everything all set up.
Dude, I mean, that was so awesome. Like, cause I mean, that's what basically the XFL tried to do and some other people, but we were like going into it like, all right, why would these locations be good? What would these team names be like? And, you know.
Yeah, well, not just that. We're like coming up with rules like, all right, what makes us where people would want to play with us rather than the NFL?
Yeah,
like, oh, yeah, you can get drafted at 18 rather than 22 and stuff like that.
Get drafted at 18, yeah. Dude, yeah, that's a trip. I wish one of us has to have a picture of that. Well, if I don't, do you?
No, actually, I was thinking about it probably like a year ago. Just me and the guys at work were talking about it. I was like, oh yeah, one time in college, like me and my buddy just came up with this whole thing, and they're like, no way. I was like, yes. I was actually gonna text you to see if you had a picture of it.
Yeah, dude. One of these days, if we can kind of like just try it one more time, see what maybe it comes up differently. Maybe we have new things to think about now that we're older.
Oh, for sure,
yeah, it would be fun. Maybe a different name, North American Football Association.
Good old NAFA, yeah.
Good old NAFA. For sure. Too bad we didn't have funding, but what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I think it's time for the next question. I think there was a fleeting thought that I had about that last one, but it'll come back to me.
Yeah,
hopefully.
No worries. Yeah, exactly. Even if it's 20 minutes down the line, just bring it up and we can get to it.
For sure.
So let's see. Next one. Oh,
it did come back to me.
It.
Yeah, it did come back to me. I took a glance at the question. I'm like, okay, what is your karaoke song? Your go-to?
Before I started trying to get out of the comfort zone type thing, my go-to was always "What a Wonderful World" by Louis Armstrong.
Got you.
Just because I would always like just come up with a really weird, deep voice, and it would like almost pass as decent.
I got you.
but as I started to do it more often and everything, I sort of, as cheesy as it sounds, sort of found my voice. I sort of realized like sort of what type of singers or whatever my voice sounds similar to, so I wanted to try to keep it in that genre, because like I said, like as much fun as it is to sort of me feel like I'm making an ass of myself, I want to at least make sure that like it sounds good. So like I don't want to look in the crowd and see people like just like cringing or anything like that.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been a lot of the time I've been doing George Ezra.
George Ezra?
Yeah. He's like he's a Welsh singer. I feel like you'd know a few of his songs, but he's probably become famous in the last 5-6 years here.
Really?
It's more like folk, not folk music, but sort of like however you would describe like Mumford and Sons type thing.
Gotcha. I'll check that out. George Ezra. Yeah, I don't think I've heard of him yet. I mean, if it is just been like the 6 years or so, then yeah, definitely new to me. For some reason, I was thinking like you were gonna come up with some like 80s kind of song or something. But
I mean, yeah, I can always rock "Don't Stop Believing," but I feel like everyone does it for karaoke.
Yeah.
Or to be different.
I feel you. It had me thinking of what mine's would be, and I had thought about this maybe like a couple years ago. I was like, all right, these 3 are gonna be the 3 that I do anytime I get up on stage. I can't even remember. I think one of them was it wasn't "Fast Car" by Tracy Chapman. It was the other one, "Give Me One Good Reason."
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I don't know, that one just hits nicely, but
that's a good one, yeah.
Might be a downer though at a karaoke bar.
Just do it at the end of the night. After everyone's had a few drinks, you're good.
And I'll turn right back around, you know? But yeah. All right, for sure. Then now we can move on to the next question.
All right. What one was that? That was number 3, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll just go to the next one. We'll do number 4.
Damn, all
Stick
right.
with the 3-4 here.
3-4. What do you wish you could unlearn?
You know, this is a while back now, but I read some of the like questions and I saw this one, and this one was a tough one for me to think of an answer even back then. I mean, there's no legitimate knowledge that I would want to unlearn, because I feel like for better or worse, I at least have the knowledge where I can avoid or fix the situation if it ever happens again. But I don't know, like just to give you like an actual answer or something, I'd probably say, I don't know, sort of, if I ask a girl out and she says no, I'd kind of like to unlearn that.
Dude, tell me about it. I don't know what it is, man. It's like, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but it took me a long time to get over, like, you know, rejection and whatnot. Like, it felt like every rejection kind of compounded on each other. And it definitely, like, you know, we talk about stepping out of the comfort zone. It kept pushing me further and further back into my zone instead of, like, you know, being able to put myself out there. But yeah, man.
No, I hear you. The rejection part's tough. Like you said, like it makes you question whether you sort of want to go through it again. So like you almost have to be like 100% sure before you even do it. And then at no point do you feel 100% sure. So that's when you really feel uncomfortable. You're like, but what if she says no?
Yeah, man. Even that 1%, it's like, I mean, we're talking about, you know, approaching women and everything. It kind of feels like they almost have to give me a clear-cut sign
exactly,
for
right?
me to be like, oh man. But if there's like any hint of, oh nah, it's not, and it's like, okay, well, I'm not even gonna waste my time. I don't want to hear that no. I don't want to like. Yeah,
no,
man.
Exactly. And for me, like, even if they give that like obvious sign, like I'd probably be overthinking it and like not even see it.
Yeah. Oh, I think we both vibe on overthinking, man. At least, I don't know for you, but for me, I'm definitely one of those people, and I think I always will be. I just gotta find a way to like make it work for myself, you know.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm right there with you.
For sure. Well, thank you for opening up for that one, man. Yeah. All right, go ahead. Shoot me another number.
Let's go back to it again. Let's do number 1.
Number 1, going back to the. I guess, I mean, you kind of described this earlier, but do you feel like a grown-up?
I mean, yeah, the whole buying the house thing, like, I get it. There are times that, like, I still feel weird. I still feel like I need help, even though I realize, like, I'm asking people that are probably, like, younger than me at this point.
Yeah.
Where, like, I'll go to, like, a hardware store or something to try to fix up the house, and I'll go to the hardware store to buy something, and I just can't figure out the right way to describe it. And I'll just, like, see someone that works there and be like, oh, he must be an adult. He knows tools.
Yeah.
Just go over and ask him, and the kid's like 18 or something, and he still knows more than me. I was like, oh, thanks, dude.
I know. Thanks, Sonny. Like, yeah, man. I mean, it's crazy to think, like, I forgot if we're the same age, or I think maybe you're a couple years younger than me.
I think you're a year older. I'm 29, turning 30 this year.
Oh, congratulations. Welcome to the 30 Club, man. But yeah, man, it's weird to feel like a third of the world is younger than me. And I'm like, oh, man.
I know, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've had bosses now that are younger than me. And I'm just like,
that's what I'm afraid of at this point, yeah.
Afraid? Like...
Well, I guess afraid's probably not the right word, but I'm not looking forward to it.
Yes. I mean, it's a little different, but, you know, like, at that point, because I remember being, you know, a little bit younger and like supervising older folks, and it's like, you know, I just be thinking like, well, from their perspective, it felt like they were always kind of challenging like what I was thinking and what
Right.
how I was running things, and I'm just like, oh man, like I didn't know this was the kind of energy, because at the time I was like, oh, I'm just doing my thing and whatever. But
Yeah.
if age is important to you, or you have those concerns or insecurities, then yeah, it could add a lot more complications. But when I believe my boss right now is younger than me, I want to say. But like, yeah, I think he treats older people with respect, so that's a plus. But yeah.
Oh yeah. What I like about my jobs and stuff is that very rarely do we ever even talk about age. And so when I don't talk about age, I just sort of, for better or worse, I just assume everyone's sort of on like a level playing field. Like, just even if I know we're not the same age, but I never think that I'm older or younger or anything like that. But yeah, so like going forward, like if I have like bosses that are like real high up there and they're younger than me, I know I just gonna sort of question. It's gonna make me question myself. That being like, man, like what was I doing at this age that they got here by then, and I'm like sort of lower down on the totem pole type thing. But everyone's got to start somewhere.
Yeah, man, those comparisons, man. That's something I struggle with, and I feel like, I think you may have seen the quote before on Instagram, but comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's something that definitely, I think, hits me for sure.
Oh yeah.
How would you describe a grown-up?
As a kid, I would have said someone that knows what they're doing, but now that I'm an adult, I know that's not the case.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, like I guess someone who feels comfortable answering. I can't even think the right word for it, but someone feels comfortable answering sort of adult-ish questions.
Interesting. Okay.
Like they feel like they have enough knowledge built up over their lifetime that if someone has a question that adults have, like where do you go to buy this part for this tool or something,
Okay.
they're like, oh yeah, just go down this aisle, blah blah blah. Like just like it's almost like someone that has enough life experiences to answer most everyday questions.
For sure. I get that. So I mean, it sounds like a grown up for you is someone who has a ton of life experience. Not a ton, but enough to like be able to answer questions about how to deal with an adult life. Which yeah. I trust me, I don't know where to get that part in the Pacific store. So now I'm gonna try to find out. For sure, man. All right, let's keep it rolling. Throw me another question. Number.
Let's go with. And let's go with number 5.
Number 5. What would you say is your natural talent?
I don't know if it'd be considered a talent, but I feel like I have a really good memory.
Really? Like?
Oh yeah, like to be fair to my own brain, like it has to be something that like I enjoyed.
Okay.
Like if it's something I enjoyed, then it sticks with me better. But yeah, like I have a really good number and a really good memory, and my brain's really good at not solving patterns, but using patterns to make that memory easier. Like almost like a word association type thing.
Okay.
But like for anything.
What was
like
that?
For me, like it's like a phone number. I can remember the phone number just because like the ups and downs of like the numbers, like it almost sounds like a melody type thing to me.
Dude, that's interesting. Yeah. Like, I don't know if you saw it. I used to have this thing in the little study guide of the questions, but it was like the 9 types of geniuses. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
I'm gonna shoot it to you. But when I was working with high schoolers, that was one thing I kind of like really wanted to let them know about and focus on, was that some psychologist, or I don't know what kind of scientist he was, but he had come up with the theory of the 9 types of geniuses, and everybody's one type at least,
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you're telling me you can see a series of numbers and it looks like a melody to you, I think that's one of those genius types. You feel me? Like, I don't think everybody kind of sees that. In the same way, like I had met somebody who told me when they hear notes, they see colors, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, but yeah, like that's not my talent. That's not my genius. I don't think. But yeah, I'll shoot that to you. I think you'll find it interesting, at least.
Oh no, it sounds interesting. Yeah, like just as a boring example, like I used to have a really good friend named Colin. I met him in like second grade when I first moved to California from Canada, and I knew him all the way through high school and stuff like that. And like I haven't spoken to him through text or anything in 10 years, but I still remember that his phone number in high school was 406-1126, just the way the number sort of ebbed and flowed when you were saying it. Just like I remember the sixes and just remember the 406 and 1126 and stuff like that. Where it just sort of stuck with me a lot easier than other things. So like I noticed the pattern with the sixes, and then just the ebbs and flows caused me to sort of associate the rest of them with it.
I got you. How did you discover it? When did you start realizing like, okay, not everybody can kind of do that or do this?
Well, I figured I learned it through my mom in the sense that I would like say stuff and I would remember stuff that I had no business remembering, and my mom would just ask me how I remember that, and I would actually have a reason. I'd explain the reason, and my mom would just like shake her head. She's like, "Why are we not making like millions of dollars off of you? Like, how is it that you have your brain works this way and you haven't figured out a way to actually like
make money off
it?" Yeah, like not exploit it, but like use it to your advantage type thing.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's when I learned it, probably when I was like 15, 16, where they were like, "Oh yeah, do you know?" I was like, "Oh yeah, it was." And she's like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, it happened, blah blah blah." And she's like, "Why?" And I don't know. It's easy for me.
No, that's what's up, man. No, I need you to be at my parties so you could tell me what happened. Because I'll definitely forget them, man.
That's what happens to me now. Like I go drinking with friends, and everyone else sort of like forgets after all the drinks. I was like, "Oh, you don't remember that?" No, you do. Well,
dude.
Yeah.
I remember those conversations at Loma for sure. Yeah, good times. Just a heads up, we got about like 10-15 minutes left in the podcast. I think we could do a couple more numbers and go for it.
All right. We've done a few single digits. We've done a couple there. Let's go with 25.
25. 5. So, do you believe in aliens?
In the like theatrical sense, no. Like the whole like green googly things, like long bodies, round heads type thing. I don't believe that they're necessarily like that, but I believe that it doesn't make sense that we're the only living creatures in like the universe. Mm-hmm. Like the universe is so vast, and there's so many different planets and so many different solar systems close to the sun, away from their suns, all that stuff, that I feel like there has to be somewhere, there has to be something at least similar to us, whether it be there in the early stages, just developing life, like amoeba and single cell organisms, stuff like that now, or even on the flip side, if they're like a billion years more advanced than we are, and they just saw how like they actually like saw how primitive we were, and like, nah, we'll get them later.
I got you.
Yeah, like I'm not too much into all the alien stuff, but I have read like a few like theories and stuff. Like some people say that we are the only ones. Some people say it's just the timing, where there were other ones before and there'll be others after us, but we're the only ones right now. And then there's obviously the ones like I just said, where they're advanced and they see us and they just decided that they don't want to interact with us type thing. So I've seen a few different theories, and like they all have a little bit of merit to it. Like if you just believe in like having like the open mind and like just not obviously saying no, like that one sounds dumb type thing. Like if you just give yourself a little bit of creativity in your thinking, then I can understand where the thought process comes from for each one of them. Yeah, so I'd say they say that there's more planets and the universe than there are grains of sand on the world's beaches.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then how can we be the only one out of hundreds and thousands and billions and so many different ones? How's it this is just the one that has it?
I got you. I mean, like, yeah, someone that told me, like, why do we think of aliens as like these things that we can see as like as a person, someone that stands up or you know, walks and talks? What if it's an object that's just so inanimate or whatever, like, you know, it's just here on Earth and kind of like could be observing and could be, you know, doing its own thing, and we just don't know, right? Because to us, that's not an alien. A rock is not an alien, but who knows? But one theory that I kind of thought about, and I just want to, like, this is something we would talk about back in the day and just like, you know, BS around. But so in my mind, it's like you seen like the infinity mirrors. You put two mirrors next to each other, keeps going. I think there could be an edge to our galaxy that kind of have two mirrors, and it just look to our eyes and to what we can see. They're infinitely expanding. Don't get me wrong. I think our galaxy, not our galaxy, but our universe is expanding. But there is that end point, and that it just looks like it's super. But also, that's where the parallel universes come from. It's right. From those levels of reflection that go deeper and deeper and deeper. But yeah, I wish there's some kind of like scientist or somebody who thought about it and just kind of break it down in a way that I could never like even think of doing.
No, I totally get you. Yeah, like for me, that speaks more to like dimensions and stuff like that. Like you're saying that there's just alternate universes, alternate dimensions and stuff. Where, yeah, I mean, there's no. It sounds dumb, but like, there's no way to prove it, but there's also no way to unprove it. And so, so I'm willing to like accept that as a theory until someone either proves it and I know it's for sure, or someone actually disproves it where they say it's fundamentally absolutely impossible. I'm willing to keep that like little sliver of hope that there is an explanation type thing. But you talking about the rocks and everything reminded me of something that used to happen to me as a kid. Like 10, 15 years ago, do you remember the movie, the Green Lantern movie that came out with Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Like, I know everyone said it was a terrible movie, and yeah, like, it wasn't great. Like, even back when I was like 12, I'm like, that doesn't make sense. But the one thing that always caught my creativity, like, just that I always, like, sort of stopped and thought about was when he was, like, learning how to use his, like, ring or whatever. The guy tells him, like, oh, you have to think of a weapon. And so then he thinks of the sword. And so that's the weapon he was going to use to fight the guy. And the guy says, oh, a sword, how human of you. And that always like made me stop and think, where I'm like, yeah, like you're right. Like no matter what you think, it's going to be considered a human thought compared to like someone that isn't a human. Yeah. And so like when they say like, oh, think of a weapon, you think of a sword. So then they're like, oh yeah, it's a human thought. Awesome. They come up with like some crazy freaking gizmo that you would have never thought in a million years. And just like, you wouldn't know what the heck it was, but just that's what always stuck with me, where I'm just like, yeah, like any thought you have is a human thought, where just because you think it's this way, like even the way aliens look, like they're like, oh, two eyes. Like, how do you know they have two eyes? Like, yeah. So like one of those, they always think like, oh, this is what an alien looks like. Really? Like, have you actually seen it? Like, how do you know?
Yeah, man. I mean, it and you know, talking about aliens and stuff is a really deep dive. It's like a deep hole that, you know, we
absolutely,
we can get sucked into, and it sucks because it's not something, like you said, we can prove or disprove. It's you know, we just talking about theories and ideas basically of like what could be possible. But yeah, it's a trip. Like I don't want us to get sucked in too hard. It's no,
that's totally fair. I just, when you mentioned that, I wanted to bring that one up because that one always stuck with me, where I'm just like, yeah, you're right. Like, no matter what we think of, like they're gonna think like, oh yeah, that's human thinking for you type thing.
What would be a weapon that you would have thought of?
I don't even know. Back then it may have been a sword, or obviously just some sort of like handgun or something, like something simple. Like you tell me to think of a weapon, I'm not going to think of like something super extravagant or anything. I'm just going to come up with whatever the first thing that pops in my head.
Dude, I got you. I mean, you know, it makes me think like, would I I would probably think of like a giant fist or something, just to have fun.
Yeah, there you go.
Just to have fun with it, you know. Shoot, if I'm the Green Lantern, I know it could happen. I've seen it. I've seen it happen before.
Exactly.
All right, man. Well, we're almost gonna get to the concluding question. But before we do, just want to thank you again for coming on. Thank you for opening up, and thank you for your time. Definitely appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me.
For sure, no doubt, man. All right. So my last question for you for today is, what is the greatest lesson you've learned thus far in your life?
I know I'm gonna say something, and then after this is over, I'm gonna be like, "Oh no, I should have said this one."
Part of our overthinking selves, you know.
Exactly, very true. I would say probably, it's just it's been happening a lot lately. It's just sort of, how's the way to describe it? Don't let social media influence like your own sort of self-worth in a way. Like if you think differently than other people, don't think that that means that you're wrong. Or if you're on like Instagram or whatever and you don't get as many likes as someone else, like don't think that you're not as valuable as that person, just because everyone, like you were saying, the 9 different geniuses, and so everyone falls into a certain category of that could be the same thing with sort of not your self-worth, but sort of how you are perceived by other people, where maybe, and it sounds bad, like maybe you're not the photogenic type where you're gonna get 1 million of likes and stuff like that on pictures, but maybe you have like an opinion or something that on Twitter or some other like more chat forum type thing that like it turns people's heads, and like it it makes you sort of stand out from the group, and sort of that is what makes you special compared to everybody else. And so don't let what social media tells you is right or good or whatever, don't let that change how you feel about yourself and what you can sort of bring to society.
Sure, man. Just the nature of the business, the industry I'm trying to get into, social media definitely is a big part of it. Even though if I could, I would not be a part of it at all. But here I am trying to finesse the system.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that social media is bad or anything like that. It has their good things and bad things about it. But just if something negative happens, don't let you think that that's what it's going to be like every single thing that you do. And so, yeah, like I like to use Twitter just because I watch way too many sports, and I like to comment on sports, and Twitter's fun because it's just so rapid fire, like right off the top, like right when something happens, you have like 10 people talking about whatever it is. So like I like stuff like that, but sometimes it bugs me where I'll say a very logical or rational thought about something, and I might get like 2 likes or like 1 person to respond to me, and then someone else puts like an obnoxious like troll type thing, and they get like 1 million likes, and like a bunch of people are like replying to them, and it's just one of those things where like I'm not trying to become like famous or anything like that, but it just bugs me that like people get promoted for like the wrong things in a way.
Yeah, man. I think well, I was never good at Twitter. That's something I've never.
Me either. Like I said, I only get like 5 likes every time.
But that's the thing, man. I get 0. I don't get like anybody responding. And I guess you know the tone that I'm coming from. It's not like offensive. Yeah. It's not, conflicting. I'm not trying to stir any controversy, but I feel like that's what it is. Sometimes it can be like that on social media. It's like, let me just troll, just so I can get people talking and talking to me. But yeah, for sure, man. So I haven't found a great way to end the podcast just yet. It's
no awesome sign off catchphrase or anything?
Nah, not yet. I'm trying to figure it out, but I think I do have a signature.